So welcome, everybody.
It's on. Oh, it's on.
I'm honored to be here with you today to basically be the transmission into and back to Cogswell. My name's John During. I'm the new Director of Alumni Relations. And that position happened in concert with two other people stepping forward to make today possible. And I wanted to recognize them right away. One is a student who wrote to our president and said, we need to show what we do to our alumni. That's Sierra Gaston right here. And the other is an alum, past ASB president, who cannot be with us today because of a medical emergency, Katie Welka. However, when Katie came here the first time, we started walking around giving the tour because I like to give tours. And she started just talking. And I don't know if you know Katie, at some point I stopped her and I said, you know, I do little video work. I do these little interviews. In fact, you'll see some of the interviews I did with students in one of the TV rooms. And would you mind saying some things on camera? And she said, no problem. So if you will let me, we can test out the audio and video here and have Katie speak to you for a second.
They call the game industry just one big parking lot that everybody's moving in and out of, and it's true. You run into those people over and over again, and if you get to know those people while you're still in school, those can be lifelong friendships that are incredibly valuable, not just to your social life, but your career. I started out in quality assurance, but when people found out that I had actually done project management stuff in school, in college, they were really surprised. Like, your degree is actually catered towards this stuff already. You already know this stuff. We don't have to train you. Right out of college, I was already doing project management for a company. And once I got project management experience at that company, I was able to go anywhere I wanted. We didn't just learn game design, we also learned the production pipelines that go into game design, and that was a huge leg up. And having that knowledge was really helpful. What's changed since I was last here is I see a lot more integration with the teams. That was just starting out when I had left Cogswell, and now I see that people who are specializing in the arts programs, the engineering programs, are all being combined finally, and you're seeing teams working together, and people are learning earlier on how to work together in a team so that you have that real life application that you can use when you come out of Cogswell. You're already prepared. There's a lot of networking to be done. I think that we've lost touch, and there's a good reason to come back to the school and continue to be involved with the school. And you know, there's students who come back and teach here, and that can be really valuable to furthering your own career, not just helping other people, but you're enriching your own life as well. And I think that getting to know these new students, you know, the graduating class right after me ends up a couple of them at Disney and DreamWorks, and you know, keeping in touch with those people is obviously very valuable. And I'd love to see us doing more networking to keep in touch with each other.
So our hearts go out to Katie, and I want everyone to join me in expressing our gratitude to her for bringing us all together. She reached out to some other people, and one of whom is Tobiah Marks, who now works as the game evangelist at Microsoft, a little startup. And he's unable to be with us either, in that his demands are very challenging, but he left me with a bit of wisdom, and we're following today. I named this thing Just Buy Pizza.
You know someone's going to go far, not based on what they know, not based on what work that they're currently producing at this time, or certainly not based on what they did previously, but just their attitude towards how they approach their project. The best advice I ever got about running a game development club was just buy pizza. The magic of the game club is not any of the events that you run, any of the cool projects you make, or people that you work with, or anything like that. The real trick is that you just got people in a room and they would interact and they would talk. That creativity, you can't prescribe it. That magic just has to happen. And the more chances you have people bouncing off each other, the more chances you're going to get lightning strike. Cogswell is more unique in a sense that I've seen a lot more students making active effort to teach other students. You know, my friend circle still revolves around Cogswell students in kind of a big way, and that's not saying like, oh, we're antisocial, we only hang out with people we know, but that's just saying that this school had the most creative, interesting people and some of the deepest friendships of my life.
Also, it's not just pizza. As you came by here, you may have seen the food truck out front. All right. Please be generous. Go eat. Go say hello. We've talked to him for quite a while, and it's just remarkable how much he looks forward to seeing you guys. So there's another one. We have somebody else on video. This one's live, so this is a little bit touchy. We'll see how it works. When Tobiah came, he said, Jodidiah is Game Development Club number 14. I went, whoa, you keep track? He actually came into my office without warning. And he said, do you know where I was? I was down at the Game Developer Club passing off some stuff. In other words, there's a membrane that's alive between you guys and us guys. And we want to encourage that behavior, right? And he said that he was Game Development Club number 7, but everybody knows Game Development Club president number 1 was Ash Monif, and I think I have him on Skype.
I am, John. How are you? Wow. Hello, everyone. I am a giant floating head. I think I got, what, 2 minutes, John? Is that about right? 2 minutes. You guys have a great night ahead of you. I'm a Cogswell alumni. I came to Cogswell with nothing but a backpack and an idea full of hopes and ideas. And I can honestly say Cogswell's been one of the best experiences of my life. It gave me the opportunity to connect with people who are as nerdy and introverted and shy and crazy as I was. And there's very few places on this planet that I think attract and cultivate people like Cogswell did. And I wouldn't be where I am today. I've started multiple companies. I've been in the game industry, and my friends, many of them who've come through Cogswell, got in the game industry, all thanks to being there and working with each other and believing in each other. And it's really a magical place, and I hope wherever Cogswell ends up, it keeps a little bit of that magic. The Astro Lounge, the late nights, LAN parties. I think we had a couple raves. I don't know if you guys are around for that. So there's something there to be a Cogswellian, and we're all over the industry. One of my recent guys, he worked for me. He's now at Crystal Dynamics. Greg's Reisdorf, he's a former Game Club president. He's over at Sledgehammer making Call of Duty. I mean, there's Nick DeGid, who's at Cryptic Studios. Some of my best friends came out of Cogswell, and I'm just happy and blessed to be and share that experience with you all. So thank you. I sit in the front row in Aaron Wiregarden. Well, thanks everyone. Have a fantastic evening. I'm going to be peering at you over whatever streaming solution you guys have set up. And don't be shy. Drop me an email through Facebook or whatnot. I'm always around. Take care.
So now it turns to you guys. And what we feel, and we have the evidence, everything we do here is because of what you did. We're carrying forward something that I think started before you and goes on. And when you came in, there's actually a white paper about the impact of this kind of education and its potential in higher education. That's a pretty big idea. But we're being encouraged to step into a vacuum, and you're part of it. And what we do together going forward, I think there will be others looking to it as an example, just as you guys looked at these guys and they further as examples. So what I'd like to do is I'd like all the alumni to stand up. Little man. Okay. Okay, now, stay standing. Everybody stay standing. Do we want to turn on the lights for this? No, don't turn on the lights. Everybody stay standing. We're in 2015, right? If you graduated from Cogswell later than 2005, I want you to sit down. So look around, look who's here. Okay, if you were at Cogswell, if you were at Cogswell before 1995, remain standing. The other ones, sit down. I don't know, between these two that are standing, I think we'd have to go a long ways to go down. So I'm going to ask, would Andre come to the first gentleman here? No, the one earlier. I'm going to save him for later. The one earlier. And keep hold of the mic. I would like you, sir, to tell us your name, your year, and your area of concentration.
My name is Don Breitbarth, and I started out at the school on Folsom Street in the summertime, and I spent most of my time at the downtown San Francisco campus, and then I finished up when they moved to Cupertino. So I got out like around 79 to 80. And I'm a BSET. BSET.
Yes, sir.
Believe it or not, I graduated in 1948. I got out of the service in 46, and my mother said to try this school, because she was at the time a hostess where they had a sailor or marine school at Cogswell at that time. So I tried it, and I liked it, and I graduated in 48, and I ended up by working at Southern Pacific Railroad Company for 35 years. Thank you.
And your name? Your name is, what is your name? Tell us your name. There you go. Now, watch as Mr. Molinari takes this Sharpie from Devane and walks to our pristine new banner for Cogswell alumni, and he's going to sign it, and he's going to put in his graduation day and he's going to put in his degree or area of concentration. Thank you. What we have just done, as you well know, is a modeling exercise, right? All of you alumni tonight, by the end of the night, I'd like you to model that behavior. We will later have a surprise for you, okay? But remember your name, your... It's going to be a long night, your degree, concentration, and your year, and we're going to fill that thing, okay? But later on. So, Devane is our man, the runner. Could everybody who's an alum stand up again so he can get to you? When you speak, sit down after doing that.
All right, let's do this, people. You're first, Aaron.
Aaron Weingarten, Digital Arts Engineering, 2013 May. Yeah.
Oh, I forgot some people up here.
Woo! Lawrence Miardo, Software 13.
Daniel, DAT, 2010.
All right, if anybody, I'll wrap around. All right, might as well get Austin.
I am Austin Brown. I did DAA 3D animation, and I graduated in 2013.
I'm Taylor Hodgson Scott, DAA, class of 2013.
I'm Robert Pendleton, DAA 3D animation, 2012.
Wonho Kim, digital arts and animation, concentration in 3D animation, class of 2014.
I'm Tony, digital audio technology, 2009.
Aaron Cohn, software engineer, class of 2014.
Jared De La Cruz, software engineering, class of 2013.
Jessica, interdisciplinary, 2013.
Farzam, software engineering, 2012.
Eric Goland, digital arts and animation, entertainment design, class of 2014.
Anthony Amos, CVI, class of 2002.
Manol Maniloff, digital audio technology, class of 2009.
Alex Gallegos, DAA entertainment design, 2012.
Ashley Evans, class of 2014, 3D modeling and 3D animation.
Will Natarajan, DAA, specializing in 3D modeling, 2011.
Nick Limberg, DAA, game design, class of 2012.
This way. Gotta go this way. Yeah. Hi, Lon.
Hi. Elon Schartenberg, digital arts animation, 3D animation, 2015.
Stepan, 2010, design.
Zane Murray, CVI, class of 2003.
My man here, this is Gaurav Mathur.
Gaurav Mathur, thank you, Dave. CVI, class of 1996.
And my name is Dave Grayton, and I went through the music engineering technology in '96.
Vince Parker, I'm CVI and '97.
Joshua Dudley, Digital Arts Engineering, specialized in game engineering and visual effects engineering, class of 2006.
I'm Craig Shara. I had a degree in computer and video imaging. I also got a degree in digital arts engineering with an emphasis in animation.
Brian Leitner, Digital Art and Animation, 2007.
Corby Runyon, 2010 DAA.
Jason Bettinger, DAA 2007.
Stephen Mortensen, 3D Modeling, 2014.
Christian Henderson, DAA 2010.
Michael Sardi, DAA, why did I have to think about this? 3D Animation, 2014.
Keenan Manili, DAA Digital 3D Animation, 2014.
Gwyneth Wilson, formerly known as Gwyneth Mason, is Computer Video Imaging, 2004.
Scott Vansel, no, it was Digital Motion Picture. Way back then. Well, no, it's been a while. 2003.
Justin Brett Schneider, Digital Arts Engineering, 2013.
Zachary Irwin, Entrepreneurship, 2013.
Blake McChristian, 2011. DAA with a focus in game design.
Micah Paulus, Computer Video Imaging, 2004.
David Wilkins, Computer Video Imaging, emphasis Character Animation, 2002.
Elliot Gibson, Computer Video Imaging, 2003.
Right. Jeff Hovick, 2006, Digital Audio Technology.
Say hello.
John Nyland, Digital Audio Technology, Audio Production, 2012.
Don Breitbarth, BSET, 1979.
Jared Kuharski, CVI, 2005.
Wow.
Rachel Sass, 2005 for CVI game design, and then again in 2014 for the master's program. Thank you. And yeah, and still here holding the fort down.
Richard Schritter, CVI, 2005.
Okay, Mom, I'm totally passing.
Courtney Hughes, DAA in Entertainment Design, and I graduated in 2011.
Will Reichenthal, DAT Audio Engineering, 2012.
Amelia Davis, 2012 DAA in Art and Animation.
Juan, you didn't go, did you? Okay, did he? Okay, I thought you went. I don't know. I forgot where you were. You keep moving around. You keep moving around. Oh, down there? Oh, nobody over here? Okay. Hi, Sai.
Sai DeLacy, DAA Digital Arts and Animation, basically with a specialization in character rigging, and I graduated in 2010.
No. Joshua Cogswell, I graduated in 2009 with a concentration in DAA modeling.
Cogswell!
John Gruba, Digital Audio Tech and Production, 2013.
Evan Peebles, 2007 DAT.
Your local demigod.
Howard Singh, CVI 2003.
Greg Smith, CVI
attended from 1999 to 2003, concentrated in game design and character animation.
And didn't graduate because he got poached by Disney. Nick DeGid, 02, CVI.
Phil Farkley, CVI 2004.
Vitaly Golem, CVI 2004.
Rory Lutter, CVI 2000. And a shout out to the great Mike Sanborn as well.
Michelle Washington, interdisciplinary. My concentrations were software engineering and entrepreneurship, 2013.
Nathan Brenholt, music engineering technology, 1995.
Ted Brockman, music engineering, 1994.
Stephen Foote, CVI 2005.
Michael Fromnick, game design, 2005.
James Floggen, CVI 2005.
Bryce Gunkel, CVI 2004.
Oliver Johnston, Digital Arts and Animation, 2014.
Stephanie Zhu, 2005, and digital illustration.
Kyle Brown, 2004. Also, I brought 2 of the projects I worked on at Cogswell in my back pocket here. So if anyone wants to play Gibran or Go Ninja, I have them.
From the past.
Jessica Bauer, 2012 DAA 3D modeling.
Brody Brooks, 2011 DAA 3D modeling.
And last but certainly not least,
I've had my day, but I just want to announce I have my grandson here, Michael Gullickson, now following in my footsteps to attend Cogswell College. Thank you.
I'd like to now turn to the present at Cogswell, and to do so, I'm going to turn the podium over to our Dean of Academics, Jerome Solomon.
It's just tremendous having all of you here today. I wanted to welcome all of you back home. I wanted to, I guess, first just give my contact information. I think all of the students here know that if you email me, I usually will email you back within 2 hours or less. So for all the alums, if you have anything that you want to talk about or want to be more involved in the college, or you just want to know what's going on, feel free to reach out to me. I want to be here as a resource for all of you. Welcome home. Now I'd like to say welcome home in a more Cogswellian way. Welcome home. That piece was produced by our DAT students in collaboration with some of our game students for a game that we're currently working on. And it just really shows the type of work that Cogswell does. I wanted to also thank John During. A big round of applause for John for pulling all of this together. Sierra Gaston, also, she's been intimately involved in this. So Sierra, once again, thank you so much. And all the faculty and students that are here today to make this day special for all of our alumni. I want to give you a big round of applause also. Thank you. I wanted to go through quickly because PowerPoint can kill you, so I'll try to go through these slides quickly. But I wanted to try to give you all an update on the college, some of the things that are happening with the students, the faculty, and the different programs and projects that we're running here. First thing, the college has really grown. At one point, the college had 100 students. Now we have about 610 students here on campus. And not only that, our entry-level GPA for our freshmen has went from 2.2 up to 2.9. This is the exact opposite of what most colleges are doing. Many colleges are shrinking, and their GPAs are going down for the entry-level freshmen. So we're really doing the right thing here. It's really built on a lot of what you guys have done in the past. So I want to thank you for that. We have 86 faculty on campus. Many of them have master's degrees or industry experience. Our students are learning from a wider variety of instructors because there's just more classes that are being offered. There's more industry professionals teaching. And there's also just a basic renewed interest in the campus from employers. So we're getting a lot of really positive synergy on what we're doing here. I wanted to also list the academic programs, especially because I heard so many programs that have changed or morphed into one of these other programs. But this is the suite of academic programs that we're currently offering. And we also have a master's in entrepreneurship and innovation. So I think these last three here are probably new to many of you. So there's just different programs that students can come into, and that's helping our college sort of flourish and grow. We've also established industry advisory boards for all of the programs, and these are just some of the companies and representatives that are currently participating in our college in some way. So if you guys want to participate yourselves, or you want to try to grow this list, or you have an interest in trying to give back to the program that you were involved in, definitely please talk with me today. I'll happily to be, it'll be great to talk with you about those opportunities. We've really focused on project-based learning. I think when many of you were here, we probably just had Project X, which was the animation project. And this shows all the other projects that we have going on here now. And today, all of you will be invited into the various projects to talk with the students and the faculty members about what they're currently doing. So we have Star Thief Studio, which is doing an interactive book, MediaWorks, which is a cross between our DAT program and our visual side of our program. We have Game Studio, and we have Project Avataria. And we see this as a way for students to really work on a team now while they're in college, and also gain those experiences that students don't have typically when they graduate from college. So a lot of times when students graduate from college, they've never worked on a team or they never completed a project. And that's really what Cogswell has to offer. And we see this of great value to the students as they pursue their interests. I wanted to point out Project Avatar just because this is a really interesting project they recently started. They're open source characters that we released. Our first rig was Cogswell the Dragon. And we have 12 characters and rigs in total. Janali, who's here? Where's Janali? She's right there. She's going to show you guys some work from that project today. And we had over 600 downloads when we started this. So we know there's a real interest in this project. And we also use it in our classes here, but also it's a way for us to give back to the community and offer people something from what we've done. Another thing that we're doing with our students, which hopefully all of you will be able to experience today, is that we're creating situations and I would say opportunities, sometimes unwelcome opportunities for students to speak and talk. So that might be giving a testimonial, it might be talking with a client through Skype, or it might be just talking about their work or doing some type of performance. So these are the type of experience we're trying to really spread throughout the college for students so they can benefit from that. And another really cool thing that's going to happen here at Cogswell is that our graduation ceremony is coming up, and our commencement speaker is Patrick Osborne. Patrick Osborne is a director from Disney. He just won an Oscar for his animated short film Feast. So there's a... So it's pretty awesome. Like all the cool stuff that happens, it's really, really cool. So hopefully all of the alumni will come back and be able to enjoy the college and participate with the college as much as possible. We really enjoy all of you being here, and I wanted to just thank you for taking it, some of your time and coming down to college and getting to sort of network and talk with the students. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, now comes the fun stuff, and I'm going to go through things really quickly because we got a pretty busy evening for you. There were programs given to you at the front desk, and I'd have you consult them as you leave for the number of opportunities that you have to explore what's going on at the college today. But first, we're going to, and everybody don't get started yet. I'm going to go through the list of things. We're going to go outside and take a picture of everybody. Okay? So that's number one. So let's try and do it in a reasonably organized manner. There is also, we would like you, if you have stories to tell that you want to leave, and this is in the backdrop that this college, this physical plant is going to go away. You can see the buildings around us, and those buildings is Google. And this is Google's new Moffett Field campus. And this is going to be torn down in August, and we're going to move to a new location. So this is our time to take pictures of ourselves with the campus. And also we've set up a little video studio in Chet's old office at the corner. And there are lights in there, microphone. If you want to leave behind something that stands out for you about your experience or what you've taken away, please take some time. There may be other people doing it. It takes about 5 minutes. We want to record your stories, okay? We want to record your signatures. So everybody, by the end of the evening, make sure that you've marked up, put your John Doe and year and focus on the banner. And the Sharpies, yeah, we'll bring them closer, but we have Sharpies over here. Also, in the back of the room, we have a self-running, meaning student designed, developed, and operated store. And they're selling gear. So, things to put on, things to use, Cogswell stuff. And they're taking a request, they're taking orders on something that was requested by alumni that haven't quite made it in yet, and that's license plate holders. You can buy, you can use them as you see fit, but pre-order them today, right? Okay, after the photo shoot, and we want to be fairly short about that, and the sun is going down perfectly for us now, so we're really right on time. If we went out right now, it'd be too early. The sun goes behind that building and all that stuff. So there's a map on the back of your program. And we have opened up the doors, and scattered throughout the campus are clubs and studios with students in them who would love to meet you. And they'd love to hear your questions about what they're doing, because we want them to be able to engage with other people who are not like themselves and to explain themselves. So a great question to ask, which I do all the time, and I'm always amazed by the answer, is what are you working on? Okay? Can we all do that together? What are you working on? When you go out, you meet a Cogswell student, that's what you ask, right? If you're hungry now, the food truck is out there, and he'd love to have your business. After the photography, we're going to fan out and go to the various rooms. There are actually some rooms running demo reels and videos of past work and that sort of thing. And I certainly want you to see those. But also pizza will be brought into the library, and you're welcome to have pizza. at your own pace, but we are going to reconvene here. We have 3 panel discussions that we have with alumni, and the first one is a student panel, which Sierra will moderate, heads of various clubs and groups within the campus, and they will talk about what they do. I'll moderate a second crowdsourced panel. In other words, I don't know who's on the panel right now. So this is what the panel's about. It's about industry issues and trends, okay? And if you're seeing changes in your industry, like globalization, big companies turning into many small companies, issues that you've had to adjust to that you would like Cogswell to know about or that students should be aware of, please come to me after we move to the next stage of the photo, and I'll try and pick 3 or 4 people to join that panel, and we'll talk about it for about 15 minutes, back and forth, and then questions and answers, just like Sierra's will be about the same time. And then finally, Vitaly Galam is waving his hand. And I ran into Vitaly. Here's a guy who says, I'm a venture capitalist and I went to Cogswell College. How weird is that, right? And so I went and I saw him in San Mateo give a presentation. He works with 500 startups. He works on his own. He's building a network of financing for Eurasia, where banks can work with startups in that ecosystem and be connected with Silicon Valley. So he has 3 people identified already, and I want to make sure that you see each other. Have you connected yet? No? You will. There he is, Aaron, Kimya, Joshua. You're on with Vitaly. And those 3 panels will happen. We hope you finish your pizza, but we'll draw you back. This whole event is being streamed over YouTube. And if you have friends, in fact, just this room, I mean, just the Dragon's Den, 1 camera. And so in the library, you should be able to watch it. We should be able to call you back. But when you do hear the call, come back, and we'll have the sit down and talks with these 3 groups. And after that, we have a special activity for you. And then the place is yours. So the real theme is to leave your mark, right? You're back. This place is going to go away. We want things to persist, like the banner. We want the videos. And we want you to feel that this is your place tonight. So with that, are there any questions? That's the line. Oh, and I forgot something, didn't I? We wanted to show you what people have done, really. I mean, we've been getting a stream of people coming through this place on a regular basis. I think it was yesterday, Georgia Tech. The day before, Rochester Institute of Technology. Google's been here with their tablets. People want to know what we do. Hey, it's time. I know everybody ate a lot and has talked a lot. And we're going to gather again here in the Dragon's Den. And even though there are not a lot of people here yet, you're welcome to come. And we will start our panel discussions. So in the library, I know this is being streamed. And you can choose to continue eating, but watch, our conversations as they unfold, or you can migrate this way and join us in the Dragon's Den, because in the Dragon's Den we will have questions and answers. And if you have questions, for instance, for this first panel, which is students today, the leaders of the various clubs on campus, and you want to ask questions about what they're doing, come to the Dragon's Den and be a part of the festivities. Okay, we're ready, and I'd like to introduce Sierra Gaston and her panel number 1. And if I see you in the hallways in the next few minutes, I'm going to be asking you to come to the Dragon's Den. So let's get started. Talk to you later.
Hi, everyone. So I know that I can speak for the student body when I can say that we're all very excited that this many alumni have actually shown up, and we're very excited to have you join us today. As a student in my last semester, actually, I know personally just how important it is that we have so many alumni spanning from all these different decades who have come here. And so I'd actually like to introduce some of our own student leaders at this school who are currently at Cogswell. So up first, we have Elizabeth Shaw, who is our current ASB president. Following. Okay, Elizabeth.
Okay, sure. I'll sit here then. Hi, my name is Elizabeth Shaw. I'm a senior DA animation student here. I've been at Cogswell for about 3 years now. I've been president for the last year, and I was secretary before that under Shane. I can definitely say that ASB has been really active over the last couple of years. We've kind of changed directions a couple of times, but this last year at least, we've been really focused on getting the students more involved in the administration, the way that the school actually runs. We've been trying to make ASB a real resource for the students here at Cogswell and help bring the students together. We've been working to get greater communication with the administration and give the students a whole lot more input on the school itself, how it runs, how the degrees run, how the classes run, what classes are run. So we've been doing all of that stuff. We've also been working to get students a better idea of how the industry actually works once they leave here at Cogswell. This year we actually sent 10 students to GDC. We sent 1 student from each of the degree plans and a student from each of the academic levels too, and I think it was a really cool experience for all of them. I know that some of them actually came back with job offers, so that was pretty freaking sweet. Just things like that. I think it's been a great experience so far to be able to work with all of the students here at Cogswell, and you also get to work alongside the administration and the faculty here. It's just been great. It's been great to have the opportunity to help the students. After all the speeches are done, I'll be back over in ASB, which you're more than welcome to come to, see the new layout. We've got like new furniture and fancy chairs. More than welcome to talk to me, see what's actually going on around campus. I don't want to take up too much of your time. I just want to say it's awesome to see all of you here, and thank you for coming.
Okay, so next up, we have Shane Cornell who's going to talk to us about CogsCon.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Shane.
To all my friends and fellow classmates, please. Okay. That's always a fun start here at Cogswell, and I'm sure for any alumni listening, and I hope you are. Yeah, it's always the same with your friends, right? Start off with a little clarification, and the reason why everyone keeps yelling my name. My name is Shane Coronella. I am actually a senior level student here, set to graduate this May. I've been trapped in this building for 5 years and haven't found the way out yet. Yeah. And I have to say, so far, what I'm about to talk about is something, that touches on really why we had this event here and all the things that I hope the sentiments that the alumni have brought to the school. As you guys know, CogsCon's really big on tradition, right? I mean, this is the type of school where tradition really runs what's going on. So, I guess I gotta start with a little backtrack. When I first got here, just to clarify, I didn't want to be a student leader ever, and then the next year I was, and then I was again and again. Basically, my second year, I was a president of like 2 clubs and an officer in of 4 more. And then 2 years later, I became ASB president for 2 years. But what I'm here to talk about is the start of all that, actually, CogsCon. CogsCon happened when I took over the Comic Creation Club in my sophomore year, and it was quite a ride because the president before me, her name was Amelia Davis. I'm sure plenty of you know her. She just said to me one time, man, I really want to do this thing where we have a convention about our school. And I was like, yeah, that'd be really cool because, we're nerds, and nerds like conventions. We seem to flock to them. So when that happened, I took over and I sat down and I was like, so guys, I don't know jack about making comics, but I do know a lot about organization, so we're going to have our own event. And everyone was like, well, I don't know anything better, so yeah, we're going to do it. And we're quite a few years later, and well, we're going on to our 4th year at CogsCon, which is really exciting. And yeah. Thank you. I mean, it's really exciting, a real tradition that seems to have taken off with the students here. And what CogsCon is it's a celebration of everything we practice here. It's video games, it's digital arts, it's, Thank you for that. I was totally fine letting them go on about themselves because I hear myself talk all the time. But thank you. You're awesome. Hi. So anyways, as I was saying, CogsCon, what's going on with it? It's a collaborative art, and one of the big things is it's purely student-driven. What we do with it is, we get it together, we all sit down, we have Dave sign his name to a piece of paper so that way we can get permissions for stuff. And then we just go about it. We sent out real emails trying to get people that we think would be great for this event. We encourage students who want to sell their art or, really get out there. We're a big collaborative effort because I want to bring as much of what everyone loves into one room so that way we can all enjoy it together. I mean, that's kind of the feeling I get from a lot of the alumni, You talk about how much the school's affected you, and I want this event to keep going. And from what I know, especially with this one right over here, this event's going to keep going when I'm gone, and they actually want to name it after me, which is a little weird. But, no. But all seriousness, if you're interested, please talk to me about it. I would love to have alumni become a part of the event, especially if you run your own company or if you work for a company you think would be interested, because I want to expose the world, everyone in this area, especially the Bay Area, to know about CogsCon, because not so many people do, and I think it's a great opportunity for students to be a part of this project that celebrates them and to put on their best show at the same time, give something that is about them and to their interests. So I'll be hanging around. I'm also part of MediaWorks, and you'll find out about that. So if you talk to me, just look for the guy with the hat. You can come talk to me, and I will give you all the rundown about what's going on with CogsCon. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Shane. So right up next, we have Jedediah Holmes, who's going to talk to us about Game Development Club.
Hello. Hi everybody. I'm Jedediah Holmes. I'm the president of the Game Development Club. And so what I've been doing under my presidency is I wanted everyone to try and do individual projects. So we've been working on a lot of group teaching. We're trying to make the club as freshman friendly as possible because we believe that everyone can make a game. And so we're teaching programs that don't require any programming experience. we have people who are more experienced teaching things like Unity and Game Maker. We've had talk about UDK. There's been a bunch of news about stuff going free. And overall, we're working together to create these games. So before me, Fox Seligman was the president, and we did some group projects. And before him, there were like more big group projects, but some of them didn't work out that well. And so Fox did a group project that was smaller, and then ended up working. We have Boom Boom Rocket Pow in the club room, and it's available for you all to play. A 2-player arena space rocket shooty game. Also in the club room today, if anyone wants to try them out, I have some of my board games. I have like 5 or 6 of tiny board games, so yeah, stuff for everyone to try. And so, yeah, games.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, joining us next is Michael Sardi, who is our Animation Club president, aka Cogswell.
Represent. Hello, everybody. So my name is Michael Sardi. I am a recent graduate of Cogswell College in 3D animation. So Cogsworks, we pretty much just do anything and everything that is animation. We've done student-run workshops, introducing freshmen to 3D animation, the basic principles of animation, compositing, just introducing the whole pipeline to students so they can actually run their own projects. And we've had a couple of projects under our belt. We had Project Bittersweet, where we animated our first little animated feature, and it was a heavy one, because a lot of us didn't know what we were doing. But that's the great thing about animation and the great thing about projects. You learn about like different processes, and you learn how to work with people, and you learn how to be a leader. And that's one of the best things that I enjoy about Cogsworks, because I honestly didn't want to be president when I first started. I was like, oh, okay, I guess I'll run for president. But it really teaches you, being at the school really teaches you how to be a leader, how to work with people. And that's what we try to do. We try to introduce that early. We have a couple of students who run their own workshops. And right now, if you go to 156, we have some of the shorts that we've worked on. We also like collabed with some DAT students too who've done some music. We currently have like some projects we're working on right now to get that done. But yeah, check out some of the stuff that we got done, and yeah, we just do everything in animation. I don't know if there's anything else. Yeah.
Okay, up next is Lindley Cannon, who is the president of our audio club.
Get this corner seat here. Hello everyone, my name is Lindley Cannon. I'm the president of the Audio Engineering Society Cogswell chapter. It hasn't been around as long as these guys' club. We started it last summer with about 5 students. We have regularly attending about 22 now. We have weekly meetings, so that's a huge accomplishment for us. A few of the things that we did since the club has been around, we had the senior sound designer from Sony PlayStation come. It was during spring. This same semester, we also toured the Sony PlayStation facility. We've done a synthesizer kit build. So we're just trying to get the students involved. And the general purpose of AES here at Cogswell is just to build that community of anyone that's interested in audio, whether you're a musician, you're into sound design, audio engineer, you want to go into the business aspect, whatever the case may be. We're just trying to build that community and inspire one another and just be there for each other and push each other to where we can help each other get those jobs that we're trying to get and be supportive throughout our college career and after. So if you guys have any questions about what AES is, definitely approach me after. It's been around since 1948. It's an international club, so and that's professional and student run. Thank you.
Okay, next up is Engineering Club.
Hi, everyone. My name is Zach Childers. I'm a software engineer here. I will be graduating next month. And I came here in 2012, and there was not a whole lot of support for engineering. By engineering, I mean like the hard engineering. We're the guys that do the ugly math that no one else wants to do. So me and a buddy who was here at the time, we founded the Engineering Society to kind of help bring us all together and unify us. At the time, we were the smallest major. We've been growing a lot since, and we really kind of help each other out a lot. We all take the same classes, so we help each other with math, and we cry slowly to ourselves that we have to do it. But we get by. We also have monthly and workshops to do all sorts of things. We just had a workshop for C#, which isn't a language that is taught here yet, but it is one of the biggest languages in industry right now, and we really see a lot of movement to there, so we try to keep track of the industry. We've also gone on tours. We've been to Microsoft. We're talking about going to like NVIDIA and some other places. And we have a robotics competition right now. We're actually all building robots to fight each other in the lab. Yeah, fighting robots. Yeah. So we're one of the academic clubs here to help each other grow and be remaining engineers together, just like the rest of us. We're all here to help each other grow as like a grassroots organization, right? So it's been a long ride. It's been a lot of fun, and I hope to see this club grow a lot more in the future.
Oh, well. Oh, neato. Thank you, Nathan. Everyone, a round of applause for Nathan who saved the day. So as I was going to say, as you can see, I'm so powerful they let me talk twice. That wasn't a joke. No. Okay. So what I'm here to talk about, MediaWorks, and my team asked me to excuse you. My team actually asked me to come up here and talk about it because they're really proud of the work they've been doing. So I'm actually the project manager on MediaWorks. I'm also a animator on it too. And what it is it's a special project that's a bit different from Project X, and it's very different from Start Thief Studio because it is a smaller, more commercial studio. What the focus is that we have the audio team and the visual team work together to work for actual clients with real deadlines, producing materials that they would like to use for promotionals, commercials, advertisements, things like that. It's not necessarily a conventional studio here like the traditional stuff that a lot of you probably learned back in the day or that we're learning now, because commercial work's very quick. You have to be really good at spotting mistakes ahead of time, and there's a lot of micromanagement, and it's been an experience, I can tell you that much, and I think I speak for everyone, both visual and audio, when I say that. Like, it is a big collaborative project because we all have weekly meetings. We sit down and we bounce each other ideas off each other. We collaborate together. I mean, we intermingle. The visual team doesn't just do all the visual stuff. Like, we get feedback from our audio team and we ask for their input and stuff. And then the flip side, the audio team makes all sorts of sound design and music that they ask us for our input on. And it's great because there's this wonderful exchange of working with someone who isn't trained in the same way you are. So their response is a lot more genuine, and it's been great, actually. I think right now we're currently working for, you can see it in our lab, by the way. We are right next to Project X, or right across from Star Thief with those small little green room. You can see our pro reel for our current project, which is TEDx Vail. They're part of the TEDx family. And, they came to us and they said, we're all about student-driven work and we're all about team collaboration, and we would love to have, such a neat school that does all this digital and animation work, we would love to have like an animated short, which would be very different from the rest of the TEDx promotionals. And so we sat down, we met with them, we cranked out, we all split up into teams and cranked out several scripts. They approved one. The visual team started cracking out storyboards. And our current team, to be honest with you, is only 6 people big. So we all wear a lot of different hats, and I think that's both. It's been a blessing and a curse in certain ways, but definitely the blessing comes from having a team that's really responsive to communication, having a team that's really supportive of each other, and teaching each other skills and teaching you to pick up skills on the fly that you need to help get the project done. We're all working towards the same goal, and we all have a good connection with each other. In fact, actually earlier today, Nathan stopped by the lab as I was working and said, I've got this audio piece. I would love to get your feedback on it. I want to see I want to hear you to tell me how you're hearing it with the visuals that you made. And I think that's amazing, really, because it's not like the full animation process where you make the animation, you do all the stuff, it goes over to the audio team, and then it gets mastered and put together and things like that. It's a step-by-step process. Please stop by our lab. We have a whole dedicated team, and we're a little bit scattered because our senior level students are all over the place. But we would love to have you ask questions and talk to you about the work that we've been doing, because we're really proud of it. Save the day.
Kind of? Okay. Yeah. All right. So anyway, just thanks again to all the alumni who did come today, who are actually here or who are watching the live stream. Thanks. We really are looking forward to, in the future, having more of a relationship really with our alumni. And perhaps really encouraging that, because it is very important to us. And so, are there any questions for any of our people on the panel here?
Hey, it's working. Questions? $5? No, I'm kidding. It's free. You can ask a question. Any questions at all? Open it.
I have a question.
Yes.
Michael Sardi, is it true that you're doing a collaborative project for something called Darkwing Duck?
That is very true. So Project Darkwing is, we are reanimating the opening for Darkwing Duck, and each shot is done by a different student, and they're doing it in their own style. So it's just going to be a giant mashup of different styles. We have people doing 2D, 3D. We have someone who's filming live action and for it, which is really cool. She's making an alligator mask. I don't know if she's here. She's not here. Oh, okay. But you know who I'm talking about. But yeah, no, everyone has some really fun ideas. And it's been a really collaborative project, because we all came together. We wanted to animate a project, and this is really good for all of the new students who come in, so because they get to study what professionals did for back in the day when during Darkwing Duck they got to see how resourceful TV animation was, animating on 3s and 4s, and just make it look so fluid. So yeah, it's been super fun, and it's been fun working with all these new, a lot of the students are freshmen, and they're just getting into animation, and this is their first time actually touching a 2D animation software, or just touching animation in general, and they're just hitting the floor and just running with it. But yeah, so far it's been pretty fun. Yeah.
Wonderful question, Shane. Thank you. Any other questions from the crowd? Oh, got back there. Make me work for it. You go, sir.
Hey guys, I was wondering, this is a question for all the clubs, is going to the new building going to change the way you guys do the clubs, or do you have any plans for the new building at all?
You can take a crack at it first. Ladies first.
So it's not going to affect it very much. We're still planning to get rooms for the clubs. We've been told that they do want to get rooms for at least all of the academic clubs on campus, which I think is going to be awesome. I don't think a whole lot will be changing, except for we're going to have cooler rooms to do our things in, and I think more spaces to put the equipment, especially for all of the clubs that actually have hardware. But other than that, I don't see a whole lot of changes.
hope Animation Club is getting their own room. That'd be super awesome.
Well, I'm not going to be here, so I wouldn't know. But
Okay, just one more question. Just a little hypothetical. If you guys had like $10,000 to use for the club, your club of choice, or your club, like what would you do with it?
Oh, me first.
We already do that.
So, I would buy a new club.
Oh, man.
I win.
So, if CogsCon had $10,000, I hate to say it like this, but we'd probably rent out a space to hold the convention, even though, actually, by the way, we hold the convention right here in the Dragon's Den. So it's been quite packed. But if I had $10,000, well, I think that we definitely would go full out, guns of glory blazing, because every time people who want to join the project, you know, they come up and say, oh man, I want to be a part of CogsCon, I have all these ideas. I'm like, great. You know, we only have like a $4,000 budget, and it's we're not really use a lot of it. Because limitations and all that. Oh man, $10,000 though? Well, part of it probably go to Vegas, by the way, to try and turn it into 10 more $10,000. But yeah, that's my take on it.
Actually, do you want to go? I want to give an honest answer.
Okay.
Wait.
Give it to Lily.
Oh, okay, I'll give it to you. I've been talking too much.
So there's other people here, guy. Audio Engineering Society. I think, well, with $10,000, there's something that a bunch of us students approached the administration about in the new building, and that's how the rooms are built. And that goes for studios and also just regular classrooms. It's important that the curriculum that needs to be taught needs to be presented and given to the students appropriately. Also in the surrounding classrooms, since audio does get loud at times, it's important to have that isolation so it doesn't bleed into the next room, so you don't hear a soundtrack in the math class with Nermal. You don't hear that soundtrack coming into the class when he's trying to teach you some really difficult calculus. So, but yeah, so I think that would be important to implement. Also, getting together and actually hands-on building equipment with those funds. We've done one build before in another class. We did like absorption panels, and that was very informative. It was great to actually get our hands on things and build them. So I definitely say that's what we would do.
Earlier this evening, a gentleman walked into the engineering lab, and he had graduated from Cogswell in 1956. He recognized some of our equipment. So some of our electronics equipment could use a bit of an update. We would buy new oscilloscopes, probably a lot more multimeters. We'd basically bring ourselves up to this century. But yeah.
If my club had $10,000, I think it would be great to have some computers in the room with software so that people could work. I've also heard talk about getting like Oculus Rift development kits and dev kits for probably a couple different phones so that we could make apps and junk.
Okay, I'll give a real answer. So this is assuming that Animation Club already has like a room. I would get some software for 2D animation, because it's a whole lot easier to do 2D animations for student-run projects. Usually it's new people. People know how to draw just coming in, and if they don't, they could fake it. But yeah, like programs like Toon Boom, because a lot of professionals have been using it, and I've been using it myself, and I thoroughly enjoy it. And probably a pencil test machine that is 10 times cooler than the one here, because the computers here that are running the pencil test machines, they just don't work. So yeah, I'll probably be buying a lot more 2D animation stuff.
I guess that's that way.
I can feel my MediaWorks members would love this question. So, because we talk about it all the time. If we even had like $1,000, what we do is just try to build a small render farm, or at least something, because Once again, the room we work in is really small, and our machines are kind of the leftover machines from the other two projects, I think. Well, we all have to share. You know it's Cogswell. One of the big constraints is like what we would do is definitely upgrade the tech. I think that's the obvious answer for everyone. But also because we're doing commercial projects, and because I know the goal of the project is to actually get a collaboration with DMM and actually become a functioning money-making thing that rebuilds itself, we'd probably need to get licenses that we can actually do chargeable work for. So yeah, I can feel them. I can feel them all in my head right now. Just like, yes, say it. Get us money.
Yeah, Elizabeth, you're not exempt from this question either. You must answer it too. Elizabeth, you're not exempt. Answer the question.
She's going to.
I intended to.
We have to share a mic.
So first off, I would feed students real food.
Blasphemy.
But other than that, I would also ask pretty please for the Engineering Society to build us a omnidirectional treadmill for Oculus Rift use. But no, seriously, I would want to send students to a lot more conventions, like we did this year with GDC. We're also trying to send students to CTN and other, professional conventions so they can get experience mingling with people in the industry who actually know what's up. Things like that, getting new equipment all around campus for every major, because all of us are like, this isn't loading. Can you finish rendering? This isn't that big of a file. But so yeah, that's what ASB would do if ASB had $10,000 more.
That was a 10-minute question. Congratulations. Let's see if somebody else can beat that record with questions. Anybody else?
Actually.
Questions? You got questions?
We're running short on time.
Oh, running short on time.
Yeah, maybe just like one more question. One more question.
Oh, you got a question?
Yeah.
All right, well, go right ahead.
After the building switches, will like some people for like the Star Thief Studios and the Animation Club, will they still be on the lookout for like say like voice acting reels and like stuff? Like I'm gonna assume for some of the projects like maybe like mouth flaps are not exactly the most common thing you want to make. You might generally assume more silent shorts have been made, but would they all like be on the lookout for things like voice acting reels if you ever needed anything like that? And where would you find them?
Usually for voice acting thing, we usually look around like the school, because I know you were part of Bittersweet, and a lot of it was just a lot of grunts and just phonemes. Well, not phonemes, follies. What am I saying? Yeah, but yeah, it's the same thing. But yeah, I mean, it really depends on like what the club members want, because like each year it's always different. It's like, oh, we have like sometimes we'll have like a semester where it's like it's a lot of new people, so they're a little hesitant on running projects, so they just want to do a lot of like workshops and just learn the programs, learn animation. And then we have like semesters where it's like, we don't want to do that. We want to do projects. That's what we came to school for. So yeah, we do a lot of collaborations with the people at school, but if the project arises and we actually need like dialogue or anything, yeah, we'll put the word out. We'll be like, we need voices. All right.
I guess we're all out of time.
Yeah.
I guess we're all out of time?
Yeah. All right, well, thanks. I'm going to hand the mic over to John, and he's going to lead us through the rest of the panels. Thank you.
So since this is streaming to the world, can I invite the next panelists? Where's Scott, Cy, and my group? I just met you. Good. So we're going to introduce ourselves. I'm not going to stand here and have you down there. We're all going to sit together. Does that make sense? Yeah.
So should we just get into it?
Yeah, here we are.
Hi, my name is Scott Russell. I graduated 2002 computer video imaging with an emphasis in video game development. I'm currently an art director at EA Shanghai, and I'd like to give a shout out to my mom who facilitated my education at Cogswell, who's watching the YouTube stream in Mount Shasta, California. Hi, Mom.
My name is Vince Parker. I graduated in '97 in computer and video imagery. And I'm currently working on-set feature film in Los Angeles, doing on-set visual displays, interactivity with actors, and anything that's on a computer screen or an iPad, that sort of thing. So.
Is this thing on? Ooh. My name is Jessica DeLacy, though everybody knows me as Sai. And I graduated in 2010, and I'm currently a character rigger at DreamWorks Animation. So, yeah.
So I'll ask some questions. We've had a little bit of interaction here, and the nature of this panel is really to look at the changing ecosystem that exists outside. And I think we sort of all stumbled around trying to figure out what's the topic, what's the frame, what can we do that makes sense. And I think we touched on it at some point where we said, you still have to learn things. And the answer is it doesn't end after college, and yet college is set up to end. And so we want to look at how we can work as a learning community that goes beyond college, right? That's what we're here to see. What can that be? So I want to turn it over to each of you and talk about the things you have to learn on a day-to-day basis, month-to-month, year-to-year, what is, and how did Cogswell help you get started on that path?
Well, so it's interesting for me. It's in being in the video game industry, we've just moved over to Gen 4, and we just got done shipping our latest game, and due to the timing, we were kind of working on a little bit of old tech, so we were just trying to squeeze as much as we could out of the engine. I'm now starting my new project. And just like that, I feel like I'm just behind the curve. So as far as learning new things, it's no longer a question of Maya, Max, Photoshop, and game development. It's XNormal, Dedo, Mari, Substance Designer, Substance Painter, all these real-time painting tools that are being used in film are now being used in games, and then we're bridging that gap, which is very exciting for the industry. But for me, who's, I guess, 13 years now removed from college, I'm like, holy shit, now I have to learn a bunch of new stuff. So yeah, no, the learning will not stop, and it behooves everybody here to just always keep up with the latest technology and stay on top of it. So I don't know if that, yeah.
I concur with that. For me, it's I started out working with CRT monitors, trying to synchronize them to cameras on set so that they don't have a rolling bar, and making interactive content by playing stuff back off of VHS tape onto monitors, and it's slowly shifted to computers. Then now we're having to develop iPad apps so the actors look like they know how to text. So the actors look like they know how to text on a set, so whenever they're texting, we actually program that so we can do it over and over on a take, over and over, because if you try to have them actually text a sentence, it'd be impossible. So we make that interactive now, so I've had to learn so many programming languages and actually get into programming to do this stuff on set. So just keep an open mind and always learn as much as you can, and think outside the box is what I would say, because I have to do that every day.
Yeah, I have to agree with both of you. I mean, it's just constantly, I think Cogswell taught me how to figure things out, was a huge one. I remember when I got my very first shot, I just started working at Rhythm and Hues, and I had just graduated, and they were like, all right, well, here's your shot. And it's like, oh my God, what do I do? And so it's, this industry is all about figuring things out, and every single day it's like, well, okay, this has to deform in this completely new way, and somebody's got to figure it out. And so I'm always learning new things, and keeping up with the software changes, keeping up with the changes in the industry. All these companies now are doing all these really, really cool things, and it's hard to figure out, well, do I want to jump on this and go that direction, or do I want to do this? And yeah, keeping an open mind is a huge one, because you have to just be willing to learn new software packages, learn new methods, and remember the old stuff, but stay on top of the new things as well.
I think also it's not just not just learning from, through tutorials or whatever. I mean, a lot of my learnings on all the various softwares and techniques came from my peers. At Cogswell, I learned probably about just as much, maybe not more, or if not more, of my, I guess, knowledge in the software from the other students. And that was one of the best things about this school, was that, the people that I met that were so willing to help. And that doesn't end when you're in the industry. There's a lot of, that's the nice thing about the industry that you guys are going to be getting into, is that it's a lot of really down-to-earth people that are game to help you along the way. So
you just walked into my next question, actually, which was the people skills. The nature of collaboration, teamwork, not from the standpoint that you have this job, you have that job, but cutting and filling for each other and finding what's the gaps, what's missing, where's the value add. In other words, people can get trained to do this block, that block, but there's somebody else who gets trained to arc them together in some way so that it all works together, and that's a scarcer resource. Is that something that can come or blossom out of a Cogswell? Maybe you don't learn it when you're here, but what does it take to get to that level?
Well, I'd say that for me, when I was here, the thing that was really helpful for me is my senior project, I actually worked with a close friend who was in the audio department here doing sound. And so being able to collaborate in that way to do like an interactive project and have to work with sound and, and kind of deal with the issues that go along with that really helped me when I got into film, because a lot of times we're doing a lot of stuff that has to have sound playback, like on set, and knowing ahead of time how the other departments work and how you will keep from stepping on their toes by making sure that you're doing things correctly to help even in their department is very, very crucial in the business. And I think that that's something to always keep in mind, is how is what you're doing working in the scheme of everyone else in the collaborative team environment, and to make sure that what you're doing is not going to hinder another department just because you're trying to cut a corner to get your stuff done faster. Think about all the other teams and how it affects everyone else. So that's very crucial, I think.
I think just being able to talk to people and being aware of what everybody else is doing. Like, I know you might be an animator, but there's a reason why you need to learn modeling, and there's a reason why you need to learn lighting. If you're not able to look at something and, if you are an animator, go back and talk to your rigger about the sort of systems that you want, or if you just say, well, I don't care about, CFX. I'm just going to animate this to the camera, and if it looks good, I don't care about anyone else. The industry is tiny. People will remember you if you are that asshole that they had to work with. And I've got stories I can tell you about this where I'll be talking to someone else from another company and they'll be like, oh God, I worked with this guy once. And I'll be like, oh man, I've worked with one of those. And we'll be talking about the same person. So it's really important that you're a team player. And if you're willing to learn and if you're willing to jump on top of things, you might be able to take on the position of, hey, we need a person to connect this department and this department, or we need a project manager for this. And maybe it's just a matter of saying, yeah, I can do that. I'll give it a shot. You can really get into any management position or, I guess, production position that you want to. So.
Yeah, I mean, people skills obviously very, very crucial in a collaborative environment. Just watching the shorts that you showed earlier, Project X, and the trailer for the other production studio that's coming out at Cogswell, amazing work, guys. Like, back in 2002, it was we tried to bring up a lot of those projects, and it was always, all these very ambitious, big-time projects that were going to compete with the likes of Pixar and PDI. That I think we maybe got 3 or 4 character models kind of done, and then the semester was over. So unbelievable, the work that's happening. So I'm sure with the work that's happening here, you're already seeing like how collaborative the process is and how important it is to discuss and not have as little ego as possible, especially when critiques are happening. And if you understand that the whole team has the same goal of just producing something great and something beautiful, criticism always comes as like an attempt to get the team there, and it's not a dig on an individual. And the only reason I say that is that that's where usually the assholes come out to play, you know, when the criticism comes out and you say, hey, so maybe it would be better if you approached it like this, and then that ego trip happens, and then that's when you know you're working with an asshole. So don't be that guy.
I'd say it's just not getting married to a design style that you do, and knowing that it's part of a bigger thing, and willing to be a part of that process, but necessarily not be in love with this design that you did, and let that affect what you're doing.
Are there any questions or do you have any questions that I didn't touch on? You can ask each other questions too. I mean, I'm not the dictator here, right? And any question? Yes, we have Devane.
I have a mouth and also a diaphragm.
Yes.
So, you
I'm going to repeat the question because it's being carried, and that it really is there such a thing as a website where the assholes are identified?
I've heard rumblings of that. I've never actually gone to the website, probably in fear of seeing my name up there. But no,
I've only heard rumors, never looked.
Yeah, rumors, and it's usually talk amongst when hiring managers and just people that you know. I don't think anyone's name's actually listed.
I will say that there's a lot of sick shit on the internet. There was a video game commentary website way back in the day, somethingbaby.com. Is anyone familiar with that? Something or other? Is that it? I thought it was deadbaby.com, so I typed that in at work one day, and it was kind of, that ruined my day. So, yeah. Sorry, that sidetracked from the topic.
Maybe I'll draw it back a little bit. I wanted to. Oh, we got a question. Yeah.
Oh, yes. So the question was, did I start originally as a rigger, and how did I get to where I am now? So that's a great question, and to answer it, when I came to Cogswell, I didn't know that rigging existed. I started out as a double major, sort of. I was DAA animation and illustration, and I also liked the idea of doing software engineering. And then I actually one day saw Josh Cogswell doing something magical on his computer, and I was like, what are you doing, and tell me what that is. Yeah, and he was rigging a character, and I immediately fell in love. And so I sort of did some magic to hybrid my major and specialized in character rigging, essentially. I was the character rigging lead on Project X. I helped petition for an advanced rigging class. I lived, breathed, eat, sleep, everything rigging. I loved it. And when I graduated, I actually started at Rhythm and Hughes as a technical animator because the rigging and tech anim were the same department. And then I kept practicing and eventually was able to get in as an actual character rigging position.
You got someone right up front.
Thank
Go
you.
ahead. Should I repeat the question? The question is about what advice for students would the panel have about preparing for their career beyond Cogswell? And I'm saying it that way in that I would guess these people say, don't go for a job. You're creating a career, right? And you're going to fill a need. And your thing is to interact with that hiring manager, whatever he needs. You're going to find out if there's a fit with what you can deliver. And I don't know if I'm right or wrong, but you can talk to him.
I would say, I mean, get your work out there. Forums, CG Society, things along those lines. I was very fortunate. I got lucky. I posted, I took another alum's advice who told me to just make an environment in 3D, put it out there, and I had it on CG Talk, which I think has become CG Society now. One of the guys who was giving me feedback on the forum wound up hiring me in my job, which has become a 12-plus year career. Get your work out there. Don't be shy. As far as like getting work to specific companies or multiple companies, I say get it out there as many avenues as you can. It's a very competitive industry. I know it was stressed to me at Cogswell. Put your absolute very best on your reel, because people, when they're going through demo reels, they're just going through things as quick as possible. And if there's a mix of like good and bad, they might take another look at it, they might not, but if it's just your absolute best work, that's going to give you your best chance. In China, they clearly don't teach that to their students, because there's been a number of times where I've been in a room with other art directors at EA Shanghai, and we'll see one or two pieces in the demo reel that looks good, and then the rest of it is just like, why would you put that in there? Then you have questions, what did that person do in that nice piece that they saw? Was that a team effort? And then, end of the day, get your best work, get it out there online in the forums, get some professional feedback, and wherever you're interested in going, submit it. Just don't be shy, and keep pestering. Absolutely keep pestering people. So,
I would add to that and say, do what you're passionate about. It'll show in your work, and also keep an open mind, because a lot of times the job that you're going to get might not be what you're expecting, and to get your foot in the door. For me, I wanted to get into doing animation like at Pixar. And I decided to make an interactive CD-ROM demo reel because everyone was doing VHS. But I started getting interactive work, and before I knew it, it kind of led to what I do now. And I really enjoy what I do now. So I would have never made it there if I hadn't kept that open mind to, let's just try something else. I mean, I have an opportunity. So I'd keep an open mind on that.
Yeah, I agree with all of those points. But to add to that, I would say that, so it's a little bit of a double-edged sword here. If there is a studio and you're like, I want to work for the studio, find out what they look for in their reels. There have been a lot of interviews I've read with supervisors from various studios and what they look for in a specific reel. And take that to heart. If you have to cater your reel and make a different reel for every place you apply to, do it. Now that said, do not be the person that is like, I will only ever work for Pixar and nothing else is good enough. If you're just trying to get into the industry, get out there. Don't be afraid to travel. You guys are young. If you have to go across the world, go to London, go to Vancouver, get some VFX experience, and then you'll have the opportunity to come back someday.
Yeah, no, I want to. So I really wanted a job at EA. I wanted a job at Lucas. I wanted a job anywhere in the Bay Area because I loved California. I took a chance. I went to Chicago. That was the guy who was critiquing my work online. We were a small company, New FX. We worked on NBA Street Volume 2. This is, I guess I've already dated myself, so it's okay to say that's a long time ago. But it's led to so much more. Just getting your foot in the door there is absolutely nothing wrong with getting your foot in the door anywhere. So long as it's what you're passionate about, like you said, don't be shy, get in there.
Question in the back.
I actually have a comment for the students, the current students. Be dedicated, side,
still have that costume. Yeah.
And for the alumni, just to let you know, we do have people wearing hats with ears and, you know, walking with pajama pants. I mean, there's a lot of idiosyncratic behavior at school. Are there other questions? Yes.
If you could run your own project, what would you produce and towards what demographic?
So the question is, if you were to run your own project now, we're saying, or in 2 years, or right now, what would be your target demographic audience, and what would be the nature of your project? What's your dream right now, if you could do it?
I think I would go completely different from what I'm doing now, because as much as I love film and visual effects, I think I would do something with Oculus Rift. I think I would probably maybe do an interactive short or something where, I don't know, it would be CG. It would all be, you know, everything done in CG, so it'd still be a similar team, but I love that new technology and I would love to explore more where that's going, and I think my demographic would probably be people about our age, because we seem to be the people that are most willing to adopt the technology. And yeah, I had no idea what my story or my subject would be, but ever since that technology has started emerging on the market, I've been fascinated with it. So that's probably the direction I would go.
Yeah, for me, I'd probably want to do something, it's a similar vein, but I ever since the Kinect on the Xbox came out, I was just looking at that going, man, that's an incredible content creation tool that's not being used. So I was like, that would be what I'd do. I'd probably pursue something in that vein. I'm not sure what, but.
I have no idea how to answer that question. There's been so many things that I would have been really passionate about working on throughout my career, and then pitching the game to the studio, and the studio saying, oh, well, that's kind of a niche thing. Zombies are kind of niche back in 2005. So, I mean, like, yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm kind of living the dream right now. I can't divulge much of anything other than the fact that I am a huge Star Wars fan, and opportunities have come up in the industry now to where I'm finally going to be able to contribute potentially to Star Wars canon. So that's that. I think I'm in the right spot right now. Yeah, for that. I've been very fortunate. So.
No comment. So, you said you worked in Chicago, but this is also terribly. In working in different locations, do you find any like huge differences, like East Coast to West Coast, or do you like one better than the other?
Well, okay. So the question, yeah. So the question was as far as location, working either East Coast, West Coast, and do I see any differences and have preferences? Is that? Yeah, so working in Chicago versus Vancouver or California, you don't really notice much when you're of a difference when you're in Western civilization, other than maybe the accent in the Midwest. They talk through their nose, and it's a little bit cold. But like it's as far as the West, no, you don't really pick up on much. Everyone's basically pretty much the same. Everyone's very passionate. Everyone's very, to that level, it's the same out in China as well. Everyone there is very passionate. The big difference is the cultures. Chinese culture is supremely different from American culture. So as far as a preference, I don't know if I really have a preference, because I'm loving working in China. It's an amazing experience seeing the world and still being able to do what I love. That said, I probably wouldn't settle down long term in China just due to the pollution and all that. But have you guys moved around much, or?
Well, yeah, I have, but mostly just because the film industry's kind of become nomads at this point. We kind of go everywhere. But yeah, it's definitely, I'd say it's the same kind of thing. It's really mostly cultural. If like I was in Japan for a year, and literally it just depends on where you're at. But yeah, I'd say when you're actually doing your work, it kind of feels the same. And people are all kind of about the same. It's less, they're focused on the work and the content and what you're doing. but it's culturally living there is really where you notice a difference.
You guys don't understand. Jack in the Box is something to be embraced and loved. Those tacos for 2 tacos for 99 cents are amazing, and you can't get those in China.
Or burgers too, just burgers in general. Yeah.
I heard the Chinese McDonald's actually have pizzas and they actually have delivery there too.
Delivery, yes. Pizza's no, and the fries are horrible. Yeah.
So we're just about out of time. We can take, if there's otherwise, thank you very much. Thank you, panelists, for stepping in.
All right, so why don't I get my panelists here real quick. Let's see. Let me get my email with everybody's names here. So Aaron Weingarten, Kimia Castre, hope I'm saying that right. I don't know if she's here. And Joshua Cogswell. Just the two of us, huh? Okay, I think, John, if you help us, they might be not in the room. Okay. So while we do that, we'll have a seat here, and we'll wait for them to show up. So John introduced me earlier, and I wanted to give you guys a little bit sense of my background, and I do stand out a little bit at Cogswell because I'm not in the game design, I'm not really in the entertainment industry, but my journey is not that strange. I've been involved with startups since the age of 13. When I was an intern, grew up in Silicon Valley. And when I came to Cogswell, I actually transferred from Santa Clara University, and I was already working at a startup running a design team, front-end design team. So it wasn't that strange. What I wanted to do was get a degree in something I was already doing professionally, and at 18 I had a team of about 20 people working for me. So through the first dot-com wave, I was a Cogswell full-time student, full-time running a company later on as well, and over a decade plus, I've shifted more into the mentor role. I still run a startup, and now I founded an organization called CCC Startups in Europe with a couple of partners that both start accelerators in Europe. And what we're doing is supporting entrepreneurship in Central Eastern Europe, Middle East, by doing a lot of events, and we're now starting a new venture fund that will be investing in these companies. And a lot of what we do is not necessarily related to gaming, but still very much same skill sets are very important to the startup industry. Where you all are now is a very special place that the whole world looks at for inspiration. And for those of you that were born, raised, and live in Bay Area, you probably don't feel it as much, but this is a very, very special place. And Cogswell provides a fantastic opportunity for you and for students here and in the future to get into one of the hottest industries in the world right now, right? So startups, programming, design, all those things can be done in the entertainment industry, but also are an integral part of every single software startup that's in the Valley now. So what I wanted to do with our panelists, and looks like we have two of the three, is actually have them introduce themselves, talk a little bit about what brought you to Cogswell, what were you looking to learn here, what you ended up learning here, and how you transitioned to industry, and then we'll take it from there. So how do I start with Joshua?
I'm Josh Cogswell, kind of related to the founder of the school, but only kind of. What brought me here in the first place was since middle school, I had wanted to do CG animation. I started in Bryce 3D, which is terrible. But it became pretty clear through high school that's what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. So I started looking for schools. An art teacher of mine in my freshman year of high school gave me one of the demo reels of Cogswell that they had gotten, and because she thought I was related to the founder. And it was exactly what I wanted. And so I was looking at other schools, but out of all the other schools I had looked at, this was the one that kind of caught my eye. And there was one specific demo reel that came from here that brought me here, which was Barrett Meeker's graduating demo reel, which was fantastic. And so it's like, that's where I'm going. And so I planned everything in order to get here. I did 2 years at a community college to get rid of all of the general ed so that I would be able to afford coming here, and then spent 3 years here, and didn't sleep much, if at all.
First year I was here, I remember you slept around a whole bunch of places.
Yeah, when I could.
It's because that's what you had to do, right?
Yeah, so while I was here, originally I wanted to do modeling. I found out pretty quickly that I'm not that good of a modeler. I'm not that good of an animator, but I have a very strong technical mind, so rigging became what I did. I was part of Project X doing rigging and effects work, and Max Sims, who used to teach here, had a connection with Rhythm and Hues, and every year they'd send down 2 of their riggers to give a talk. And so my last year here, then I connected with the rigger that they sent down, which was Brad Hebert, and he mentioned, he's like, hey, in May, if you're graduating, we're hiring for Alvin 2, and we know it's a terrible project, but you're good enough that you could work for us. So I applied with 2 other people, and we all got the job offer on the same day, which was 3 days after graduation, and we all moved down and worked on Alvin 2 for 4 nightmarish months. And I got laid off for a bit, but then I went back and worked there until they went bankrupt in 2013, and now I'm at Blur. But a lot of what I learned that last year in being part of Project X helped transition me into the industry. While here, I was already working 40-hour work weeks, doing the same kind of work in a collaborative environment, and so it wasn't that hard to transition to the same thing when I actually got into the industry.
Great. Hello? Okay. Hey! Whoa, that's really loud. Yeah, so I'm Aaron Weingarten. Sorry I'm late. So I first found out about Cogswell mainly because in high school, like Josh, I was really interested in animation, and I loved, in high school there was an AutoCAD program, which is an architecture program, and they also had it as the first semester you take that class, it's architecture. The second semester you take that class, you can play around with a 3D modeling program called 3ds Max. I really did not like 3ds Max. But I really loved the idea of animating, and I loved video games, so I knew from the get-go I wanted to get started in video games, so I spent every year I was in high school going back to AutoCAD class to work in 3ds Max, and then eventually we got Maya, which was significantly better in my opinion. And by the time I got really frequent with that and was looking around for animation schools, I didn't have much luck. I got pointed to Art Academy, SCAD, couple of other places. None of them seemed like a really good fit. And one of my friends, their mom, who was also looking into art schools for her daughter, told my mom about Cogswell. So we set up an appointment and came in. And the first thing that stood out to me more than anything else was the statues, the sculptures everywhere. They looked just so, there was this one with like a fish and his tongue was out of the, It was just really, really awesome. And I loved the feel of the school. The guy who's giving the tour, his name was Evan. He was a really nice guy. He was the first person I had talked to on a tour who was actually doing a good back and forth with me and giving me a lot of talk about the school and the project settings and everything, and we walked past the game development club, which I originally wanted to go to the school as a DA animation student. And after seeing the game development club and they told me about the different programs, I learned about the digital arts engineering program, which was a focus in both the artistic and the programming side, so a lot of the creative and logical side of games, and I thought, that sounds like an awesome degree. So I started that up, and the first 2 years, I will admit, I kind of screwed around a lot, because I was fresh out of high school. And the first real project that kicked my ass that was just awesome was, there was a game called Clark and Dagger. Yeah. Brody, how you doing? Led by that guy over there, Brody Brooks. And essentially, Brody was determined because he had finished up his game club presidency. He's like, I'm gonna make a goddamn game. And he's just like, I have this summer semester before Jessica takes over, gonna get it done. And so Brody was so driven and so basically wanted to get the project done, and I knew nothing about games. So by the time I finally got onto the project, I was like, Brody, what do you want me to do? He's like, do you know anything about level design? It's like, no. He's like, well, why don't you try it out? So Brody put me on because one of the people who was supposed to do level design dropped out and I wasn't a strong coder, so Brody put me on level design and I started showing him my designs and how I was doing stuff, and he's like, wow, you actually aren't too bad at it. So that was awesome. And essentially from there, it just spiked my love of basically design work, specifically in level design for games, and I started working on more projects. Brody eventually talked me up to one of his friends, Tobiah, who was doing a big gathering of his friends to work on his game Blast Monkeys, because they were looking for level designers, and he had like, Brody and Tobiah must have gotten like 10, 15 people crowded in Tobiah's house. All of them somehow had computers, because he brought in like 15 different computers. It was ridiculous. One person was working on the TV. And I just got really into the flow with it. I created a ton of content for them, and Tobiah really liked what I did, so he hired me on. And that was the first official industry project, because Tobiah owned his own company, and I worked on Blast Monkeys for about a year and a half. And that led to some other jobs, other contract jobs. And then after I graduated, I started looking for jobs, and I was having a bit of a hard time because all I had was a mobile game, Blast Monkeys, under my belt, which was great, but I needed more experience. And because during my last year at Cogswell, I was a game club president, I got introduced to the first game club president, Ash Monif, who was looking for people to join on for his project, Dragonfin Soup, for his game company, Grimbros. So after talking to Ash several times, I said, talked to him, I was like, hey Ash, so I was a game club president, you're a game club president, maybe you can hook me up with a job? And the first couple of times he didn't really remember me because I apparently didn't leave much of an impression to him. And I followed him up to an event called PAX, Penny Arcade Expo in Seattle. And I did some work for him. I did work on him for him there, and I helped him out. I helped him out a lot because some people bailed on him for his booth for promoting the game. And I stayed and I helped out, and he's like, oh my God, you helped me out so much. How could I ever repay you? Job? And the first thing that happened was like, all right, send me your resume, I'll check it out. And this is like the 4th time I sent him a resume, and he calls me back 2 days later, oh my God, you were a game club president? And essentially from there, it just, I ended up working for Grimbros for about a year and a half, and I did a lot of really good work for him, and I got a lot of experience working at home with a small indie team, which was awesome. And then recently, I was able to get a temporary position for about 3 or 4 months contract at Crystal Dynamics working on the newest Tomb Raider. So super psyched about that, and just kind of one thing has led into the other. And the only reason one of the main reasons I was able to get that job was because I had made a lot of connections at Cogswell, specifically with a guy called Matt Bard, who he had seen some of my work at the school, and he knew I could do a good job. So when I was like, hey man, can you help me out? He's like, sure, and talked me up to one of the recruiters. And basically just by making connections with people, by talking to Brody led me to Tobiah, by talking to Ash, or by talking to Tobiah, just becoming a game club president, that led me to Ash. And talking to people at the school who worked with Matt led me to Crystal Dynamics. So overall, that's been my experience with Cogswell going into the game industry.
All right, so that's a good segue. So it's a broken record. Everybody knows Cogswell does a very good job preparing, technical skills. What makes a school very special in this industry, or in a lot of technical industries, is that you have people from the real world teaching. So you're getting not theory, not books, but you're getting a lot of practical knowledge. One area that doesn't necessarily get as much attention are soft skills as far as leadership, management, etc. So if you guys want to share a little bit about your experience kind of diving into the professional world and things that might have surprised you that you had to catch up real quick that were different from your student experience in the real world.
Well, in terms of leadership experience, I had worked as a manager at a movie theater for 5 years before coming here, so I had some leadership experience. I got really involved in the game development club, and I was president my last year here. And then going into the industry, that kind of paid off. I got lead positions relatively quickly, and that led to a supervisor position at Rhythm before it closed down. But in terms of like transitioning from here to the industry, one thing that I kind of learned real quick is that basically no one knows what they're doing and they're all making it up as they go along. So my major fear leaving here was that I was going to not have the knowledge, not be able to pick up things fast enough, not be able to adapt to the speed of anything, and that everyone else knew what they were doing already. And my first job at Rhythm, there were 70 of us in tech animation, and only one of us actually knew what we were doing. And so we had very little time to adapt, but that was basically you learn as quickly as possible from those around you and from the resources available in order to do the job that you need to do. And so be attentive. If someone's teaching you something, they hate it if you have to ask them the same thing twice. So keep notes, and it helps a lot. And then that was the same thing transitioning over to Blur from Rhythm. I was moving into an aspect of the pipeline that I wasn't super familiar with, and then just being attentive, learning from those around me, I was able to get up to speed relatively quickly, and helped out a lot. Right? Right?
Okay. So for me, I didn't really have very many jobs. The most work experience I had was I worked for the AV lab at the school for like 2 years. And then the other, yeah, he knows. And then the other experience I had in any kind of like management or at least getting used to the pipeline is there were several small projects I tried to start up or be a part of at Cogswell. Unfortunately, each one fell apart. But with each experience that I had, I learned something different from it, and during my senior year, I took all that knowledge and finished and released a game for the Ouya and for PC called Monocle Man. And I was just so psyched because I was like, okay, I'm totally ready for the environment. I can totally do this. I can do this. And when I started working for Ash for Grim Bros, it was such a reversal because working on Monocle Man, I was in charge. I told everyone what to do, and I was able to get into a good workflow. So I thought, okay, I'll be one of the people who's getting told what to do. And I had 2 separate bosses, one for business, one for development. And because it's a small company, both of them kept fighting over me. So I was told, work on prefabs. Then about a week later, I need you for PAX. You need to work at PAX for this week. So we'll postpone some of those prefabs. How come the prefabs aren't done yet, Aaron? Kind of a bit of a back and forth of just, I wasn't used to being a cog in the wheel as much. I was more used to trying to work with, trying to manage people instead of having people manage me, and it was a different experience because I had to adjust to each person's personality. And then and then I also got to finally experience at a bigger studio with Crystal for the last few weeks. Since I started there, it's almost exactly what Josh said. A lot of people are kind of guessing it. They know how to do certain things really well, and then they're kind of transitioning into new and different things. The guy who was working on collisions with me, he's known as our collisions master. He taught me some really cool stuff, and then one day, one of my friends who was a modeler, or one of my friends there, Matt, showed me a new way to do the collision system, and I brought it up to him, and he's like, oh no, that shouldn't work. That shouldn't work. And then 5 minutes later, I go back to my desk like, okay, whatever. he comes back, okay, let me see how you did it so I can try to see it, because I need to see for my own sanity if that method is better than mine, or, yeah. And it's just kind of fun, because every day it's been a new challenge and a new experience of just, I was used to being pulled two ways at Grim Bros and at Crystal Dynamics. It's been a lot of one person oversees what I do, and then I talk to him about some of the stuff, and I have to challenge him so that way they can see if they can do their job better, and I can see if I can do my job better, because at the end of the day, everyone's striving to make the best game possible, and one of the guys I talked to said, if you're not challenging everyone else or being challenged every day, then we're not going to make the best product. So that's been my experience with management compared to school.
So let me ask you the next natural step is, what would encourage both of you guys to, or what would give you the confidence to start your own company, your own product, your own project?
A fantastic idea.
Do you think an idea is enough?
If you have an idea that works well enough and you truly believe in it, you have to go for it, and that would be the main thing that would help you through all the times where you're not having a good play test, where people aren't really liking it and you have to change it up a bit to make it work. As long as you have that initial idea, that thing that you really wanted to do and could get out there, that to me would be the main thing that would give me the confidence to do my own company.
So do you feel like you're ready to go out there and do everything that's not related to actually making the game, like raising money, hiring people, selling?
I have a little experience, but I don't think I'd do a very good job at first.
Okay, so is that something that you think Cogswell could help you in the future? I mean, so Cogswell is working on this master's program, right? And essentially it's Masters for Creative World, Masters in Business. So do you feel like that, I mean, do you have a burning sensation that you want to learn? There's certain things that there are gaps in your knowledge that would help you towards doing something of your own one day?
I figured that I'd probably be pretty terrible at running a company and that I probably shouldn't do it. So like, I think that a lot of what Cogswell's doing with the master's program is pointing people in the right direction for that, but I know that's not my mindset, I know that's not my skill set, and it's not something that I think I would actively pursue.
Okay, fair enough.
For me mainly, I just want to get, I feel like I could do that eventually, and some of the classes I saw in the entrepreneurship and master's program seemed pretty good. And I wanted to take some of those classes, but at the same time, I felt that if I couldn't take the classes, real world experience would be just as useful, which is why I made sure to ask and follow every little single thing Ash was doing with his game, because he is doing the startup and trying to get his game out there. So I asked him about his investors, about the Kickstarter campaign we did and everything, just asking him constantly, and I jotted down little notes here and there of what may work in the future. And I figure if I can get the pipeline down better, and then I can work on the business side maybe.
So one last question, and we'll open up for some questions from the audience. If there were one or two things that you wish you learned at Cogswell before you got out there in the world, what would they be?
No, go ahead.
I would say the main thing that would have worked with Cogswell is, I guess, best thing would be a class about communication and project management with communication and deadlines. I had a project management class, but that was with me dealing with my own project, and I feel like I know they're doing this with Studio and some other stuff at the school. Class where essentially you get a group of people together and you make sure all of them have to communicate with each other, have to check in, have to make sure they know what the deadlines are and what they're doing, so that way when they get into the environment, they know when you get to work at a professional studio, you have to check in with people constantly and make sure it's okay. But at the same time, you have to know when is it a good idea for you to do your own thing and when it's a good idea to double check with who you're working with. And having good communication skills is a very big factor in that.
Yeah. Good takeaway.
I would second that in any of these collaborative environments, game studios, film studios, you need to be able to communicate and communicate clearly, because if there's a miscommunication somewhere, then it can cascade into something terrible really quickly. So I would second that.
Well, there's nothing more boring than a panel where somebody says, yeah, I totally agree with everything that was just said.
Yeah, because otherwise, like I felt that what was missing when I first started here was that kind of collaborative project-based class. A lot of people were modeling, but they weren't really modeling with an eye towards that being rigged and animated. A lot of people were animating without really thinking about how that's going to light and render. And I know that that's now where the school is being pushed because Project X was really successful at that. And I think that it would have been useful to get more of that earlier in the education so that bad habits would be eliminated sooner. Because a lot of my bad habits with modeling, I didn't find out until almost about the time I graduated, that that's not how you do things if it needs to be passed on to someone else. And in my job currently, I'm seeing that a lot with off-site freelance modelers that we're getting, where they're used to making a really nice ZBrush model, but not used to having it have to move. And they do not take notes very well.
So a class in teamwork.
Yeah. Well, I know that with Reed Renfree's, what did he call it? The creativity and content development, then he had an interesting way of dealing with group projects, in that a group leader would be appointed who had the power to fire any member of the group that was not performing to standards. And then that person would have to interview with the other groups in order to essentially be hired, and if they weren't hired, they would fail the project. Which, it's a little extreme, but I think it helps kind of, yeah, it's more real world, because a lot of students are used to working in group projects and not having to do a lot because the group is doing the project and you're all graded as a group. So adding the incentive to do well or you will be fired, like in the real world, I think was really helpful. But it was only in that one class, and I think it could have been expanded. That kind of idea of responsibility could have been expanded into other classes and other group projects.
Very good. Do we have any questions from the audience? Not everybody all at once. Well, if not, then if you guys have some final thoughts, we'll wrap it up and give you your time back because we're about an hour over in total.
In general, I would say be friendly, be nice. All of these industries are small, and if you are difficult to work with, then you will likely not have a job anymore.
I'm sorry. I was trying to come up with a question that would actually benefit everybody to hear an answer for. And I actually wanted to ask the previous group this as well. You said the industry is small. They said the industry is small. That makes sense. My concern is how do people find each other in the industry, collaborate together? I know there's conventions. I guess it would be a good idea for everyone in their individual departments to figure out where they need to go, how they need to kind of flock to after college. Because after Cogswell, okay, now where do I find all the other animators, all the other software engineers, all the other audio technicians? Where are they?
Yeah, they're on the internet.
Quick summary of the question is, how do you network in the industry after graduating from Cogswell?
Well, in the game industry, the GDC parties, more gets done at the GDC parties than get done anywhere else in GDC.
If you can get in.
If you can get in. Again, be friendly and introduce yourself to people that are already in the industry. Because what I found for the way I got a job at Rhythm was meeting one of the riggers there, and he helped me get in. How I got the job at Blur was a former rigger from Rhythm mentioned that they had a position open, and he helped me get the job. So that's why being friendly is important, and making those connections. One of the mistakes I made when I first started at Rhythm that hurt me a bit was that I didn't go to lunch with other people. I would just go home and eat a sandwich, and it was fine. But that I was not memorable. No one knew who I was, and it was a problem. So when I got hired back 9 months later, going to lunch with people helped a lot because it built a kind of a cohesive group. And so when any person from that group goes somewhere else, then you have another connection somewhere else that is looking out for you for work and whatnot. I know that getting that initial connection is difficult. And I don't have a great answer, but there's user groups for software where you can meet people. There's conventions you can meet people. It's just important that you actually meet people and just don't go stand in a corner while everyone else is talking, because that doesn't do anybody any favors.
Yeah, definitely what Josh said. The other thing that really helps is going specifically to groups that would work. So for example, I still like to do my own, I would like to work on my own indie projects and get more acquainted with that. One of the things that I know I could do, because it pops up in my feed, and I made sure to try to connect with as many different random gamer news articles and stuff, is I know a person named Angelo who runs these meetups. And I'm pretty sure that's why he wanted me to plug him. Anyway, Angelo does meetups for indie devs. And I know that anytime I want to go out and meet new people, new indie devs, get my name out there more and talk to people, I know I can go to those meetups that happen about once a month, that I'm sure if you talk to him over there, he can give you more details. And it's essentially, it just goes with that. The other thing is, when I went to the school, I made sure that when you're talking to people, do not try to sell yourself as just a person with skills. You have to make an actual personal connection with the people and not just talk to them to be like, hey Josh, I heard you work at Blur? I like Job. Can I get Job there? Yeah. I'm really good at animation. You have to talk to someone and treat them like they're an actual person. And when you talk to people and you don't demand things from them, like you don't demand, like ask for help and stuff, you essentially are talking to them like, hey, I can maybe, so it's really nice to meet you. I had a fantastic time talking to you. I was wondering maybe if you can give me some advice. Don't force yourself upon the person. Essentially just talk to people, treat them like they're legitimate people, and eventually you'll make better connections with them. Because honestly, the people that you want to work with in the end are the friendly people who aren't just asking you about your work and then nothing else. You want to talk to that guy who, you want to talk to that person who you connected with them over comics, and then somehow comics led into how both of you are designers, and then how both of you are designers led into, dude, we should totally hang out and make a game together. It'd be awesome. We could just spend like 48 hours and make something real quick. So that would be the best thing I could suggest for that. Just look out for specialized groups, because there are groups everywhere. You honestly just either got to Google search them or just ask around in areas where people like GDC or just at your school, things like that. And then from there, it's just make a connection with someone on a personal level. And at the end of the day, your friends will increase, and more people are going to want to be around you and work with you in the end.
Very good. And I'll add a couple of pieces. For those of you that are entrepreneurial, a couple of you came up to me and asked some questions about fundraising and all of that. When you go out there, first of all, you're pitching, you're not pitching your game or your solution, because people don't have context. You need to start with who's the customer and what's the problem you're trying to solve. In the game world, it's a little different. You're pitching fun, right? Somebody's going to have fun with your game. But if it's something else, you have to solve a painful problem that's obvious in a new and better way. And when you're out there networking, it's good advice, for a lot of folks that are interested in the world of games and design and modeling, all of that. These are very solitary type of activities. You spend a lot of your time in front of a computer. You don't spend a whole lot of your time practicing, talking to people and socializing. So it is very important to be able to make these personal connections, and people want to work with people they like. It's very simple. And in Japan, or anywhere actually in Asia, people will drink heavily together to really get through the well, it's basically drunken body, sober mind phenomenon, where you really get to find out who this person is, and if you can trust them, if you can rely on them. And same goes in all the industry. And when you're out there pitching, The saying goes, ask for money, get advice. Ask for advice, get money. So with that, I think we'll close. We'll give you back the mic, and if you have any questions, I think we'll be around for a little bit. Thanks.
So we have one final activity. I want to make sure, I'm going to go through and make sure that you're leaving your stories behind, right? Number one is that you're signing the banner if you're an alum with your name and graduation or date and concentration area. We've got a whole bunch of videos that were made and people have been telling their stories. And we have one more thing, and that is this building is going away, right? And when we first came up with the idea of what should we do, we thought of let's have a destructo derby. Let's destroy something. Well, we've modified that. We're going to hand out markers. These are for you to use, not on artwork that is framed, that can be moved to the new building. All the artwork that is painted onto the walls, we can't take the walls. There might be asbestos behind there, there's danger, so we're going to lose a lot of it. We want your memories to be left behind, and then it'll go away forever. So it's our version of Snapchat, okay? You're going to get markers, and you're going to be free to mark up the walls, remembering something that happened, leaving a message behind to students that are here for the final semester in the summer, whatever you see fit. And I want to thank you all for coming here and really making this a memorable evening. So you're now free to move about the school, and please get your markers and leave your stories behind. Thank you.